Hi, welcome to Yoga and You. My name is Joshna Ramakrishnan, and in today's episode, we're going to learn what is Yin Yoga. Yin is a concept from China. You have heard of Yin and Yang. So these are two complementary forces in nature which makes all aspects of life. And how did they marry the Chinese concept to the Indian traditional yoga? So if you look at yoga, it's actually a holistic approach, but predominantly in the world right now, you're doing a lot of asana practice. And now the asana practice also is very fast paced. We have to move faster, we have breathing faster, there is power flow, there is power yoga. There's a lot of addition to having yoga in a much more faster pace, suiting the needs of the individual. But what is Yin Yoga is the opposite of it. It's calming you down, slowing the asana practice. If you look at yoga in general, it's not just asana practice. It also incorporates a lot of meditative practice, a lot of breath work. So Yin Yoga is actually emphasizing that in the asana practice itself. So we stay in a posture for a very long period of time. Let's say if you're a beginner, you will stay for 45 seconds to 2 minutes. But if you're an advanced practitioner, you can stay in each posture for 5 minutes. In other words, we call this static hold in a posture. What happens when you do a static hold? You not only work with your external musculature like your joints or your ligaments or cartilage or your connective tissue, but also you work on the internal organs. By working deeply with internal organs, you are removing all the ailments which you get in your body because of lack of proper food or proper lifestyle habits. So this Yin Yoga, it's kind of trying to bring us back to our own self in a very slow and quieting way, which is very different from what happens in the asana world right now. So let's begin, and today we're going to learn 4 asanas and how to use this concept of yin, how to use that energy, the feminine energy, the energy which is more static, more cooling like that of a moon, into our practice so that we actually calm down and go deeper into ourself. So the first asana, we're going to start from the mountain posture, or in other words, it's called downward dog posture. It's also called Adhom Mukh Shavasana. So let's see how do we get in there. So I'm going to stay in each posture for 45 seconds. But if you're an advanced practitioner, you can pause the video after 45 seconds and you can just stay there for another 2 minutes and then continue for the next asana, so that you will really feel the benefit of each asana. So we're going to begin by coming on all fours, keeping your fingers separated. Take few minutes to just feel that connection and grounding energy to the floor. How your knees are connected to the floor, how your toes are connected to the floor. So this gives you a nice solid base to go into a downward dog, because downward dog is an inverted kind of position. So you need to be able to feel the floor, the connection with the floor with your palms and your toes. Now once you feel the connection, tuck your toes, take your time to lift your hips up. So when you start, you're going to go into a downward dog in a mellowed way. So you're going to try and keep your knees bent and allow your head to fall. Even if you cannot keep your heels down, it's fine. You lift your heels up, but make sure every finger is pressing to the floor and you push your chest in towards your thighs. You're not squeezing your shoulders, you're relaxing your shoulders. Your neck is really free to move here. Once you feel this is comfortable, you can keep your legs, heels to the floor. Feel the stretch in your calf muscles. You're going to stay here for 45 seconds. That means every breath counts. Let's say you're breathing in for 5 seconds, breathing out for 5 seconds. So in 10 seconds, you're just doing 1 breath. Let's say for 40 seconds, we're only doing 4 breaths. So very slow breath in, slow breath out. There is no rush. That's the whole point of doing in yoga. Not in the movement, not in your breath. You're allowing your body to try and lengthen in this position.
find the connection to the floor. Now from here, if you want to stay, you can stay, pausing the video. If you want to continue, you're going to bring your right knee in between your palms. So your knee is placed on the floor, your toes are closer towards your left arm, and you're going to try and sit on the floor with your hip. Some of us might feel it's difficult, so I'm going to use a block to place on the hip and see if I can comfortably sit. So when you look at the left knee here, you're not relaxed, but rather your left knee is nicely placing on the mat, and you use your hands to support. If you feel this is comfortable for me, you're going to release the block and see if you can sit fully to the floor. Now in this position, you stay for another few breaths. In this position again, you can close your eyes and count the number of seconds you inhale, number of seconds you exhale. Some of us can lengthen our exhalation to 10 seconds, see if that's possible. But at any point of time, you should not feel like you're suffocating your body. So you should feel comfortable with your breath. So don't push more than you actually can. Breathe here, another 5. Your breath is slow and steady. 4, 3. By closing your eyes, you're going deeper within yourself, less distraction from all the sense organs, and you're present here. Now if you're comfortable here, you're going to stretch your arms and go forward. So some of us might feel this is difficult, so you keep a bolster in front of your knee and try to stretch your arms on the bolster, forehead on the bolster. At any point, don't let your hips to sink to one side. Keep your both hips equally balanced and squared, and we stay for a few breaths. So some of us might feel this is very comfortable for me, so I'm going to increase the intensity by placing the bolster slightly more away so my forehead can touch the floor. And I'll stay here for around 45 seconds to 5 minutes, depending upon how much I am actually comfortable doing this posture. If you feel like at 45 seconds you are very uncomfortable, you should come out and rest, because it should always be at your own pace, focusing on what's comfortable for you. While you are here, focus on the breathing. So this is called the Pigeon Pose. Really works on your glutes, your hip flexors, your chest, and your legs. Now slowly as you inhale, keep your hands next to your knees, lift your chest up. Exhale, you go into a nice downward dog position, and then we'll stay in downward dog for another 5 to 6 breaths, depending upon how long you want to stay. Come up. I'm going to stay here, and when you do this time downward dog, you feel a huge difference between how your right leg and left leg feels. Your right leg feels much more open because of pigeon. Your left leg will feel a little bit more stiff than your right leg. This Yin Yoga helps us to really understand our body, not just at the muscular level, but also at a thought level, how our emotions work, what's going on with my mind, because you're slowing down. The more you slow down, the more awareness you get about everything you focus on. Now you're going to bring your left leg forward, left knee in front. You're going to keep your right knee on the floor. Don't let your knees to fall out. Place it on the floor. If that's difficult, like I said, you can use a bolster or a block to place it under your left hip so that you have a nice equal squared hips. If this is comfortable, keeping the block there, you will go forward. But we'll stay in this position for another 5 breaths. So this is actually really comfortable for me, so I'm going to remove the block and stay on the floor. And all I focus on is my breathing. I'm gonna count how long I inhale, how long do I exhale. Take your time, there is no rush. If you feel like you would like to spend a little bit more time here, you can always pause the video and stay until you're comfortable and come back to continue. Now I finished 4 breaths here and I'm going to slowly bend forward. Because I'm comfortable here, I'm just going to use the bolster to support my hands and drop my forehead down. Your hips are nicely flexed. Watching your breath. Slow and steady. Now slowly you bring your palms back. Like I said, you can always pause and stay for a little longer. You stay here for a few breaths and you're slowly going to lift your legs up and come into a nice downward dog position. So start from tucking your right toe in, lift your hips up and then you lift your left leg back. Breathe here. Now once you finish few breaths, you relax in child's pose. Like I said, in yoga there is no hurry to move into another posture very quickly. So we'll take all the time. Now inhale, slowly round your back. So this is the first asana we did, the pigeon pose. The second asana is a nice seated forward fold. We're going to do Paschimottan asana, where you're going to stretch your legs forward. And for this we might use, you can use a belt or you can use a towel, anything which you have. If you feel like you don't need all of them, you can just hold your toes. But because you're going to stay in this position for a longer period of time, I would request you to use any kind of a prop so that you can slowly progress into the posture. The focus in Paschimottan asana is not to take your forehead to the knee, rather how much I can keep my back straight and fold with a nice straight back while I draw my belly in. So for this, your belt will help you really to go a long way. So hold tight wherever you're comfortable. The focus is not to fold forward, rather lift your chest up. Pull the shoulder blades back, lift your chest up, but keep your chin down. Now focus on your breath. With every exhalation, see if you can draw the belly in. If you feel being here it's a little difficult, you come back a little bit and you stay with your hands still here. It's still a nice stretch. Some of you might feel already a lot of stretch here. If you feel I'm very comfortable here, I want to challenge myself, so go closer, but the focus is to lift your chest up. Try and lift your chest up, keep your chin down. We'll stay another 5 breaths here. Paschimottan asana helps in stretching the lower back, the fascia in the lower back, the glutes, your hamstrings, your calf muscles, all the way to your erector spinae muscles, which is the muscles of your spine. All of it is nicely stretched. And because of that suction of the belly in with the exhalation, you can feel your internal organs being massaged. Now with every exhalation, I want you to go a little bit more deeper. But keeping your back really straight, chest is nice and open, but at the same time don't bend your knees, press the knees down. Close your eyes. Feel the breath, feel how your belly is touching your thighs. Now again, last few breaths, you go deeper into the posture. If you're holding the belt, hold the belt really tight. Pull your shoulders so that you're not rounding your shoulders. Pull your shoulder back. Take your forehead towards your knee. If this is comfortable for you, you can place a block in front of you. Hold the sides of the block so your back even gets a nicer stretch. Head down. After you stay here for a couple of breaths, you slowly, vertebra by vertebra, round your back and slowly release the posture, because you stayed in the posture for a long time, so you should take your time to come out of the posture as well. This is your third posture of the day, Paschimottan asana. We did downward dog, pigeon and Paschimottan asana. The last one, it's going to be an opposite movement of Paschimottan asana. We're going to do a nice backward bend, which again we can use a block or a bolster to do. So you're going to keep your blocks next to you and you're going to try and lie down with your knees bent. So take some time to feel like that lower back touching the floor. After the deep Paschimottan asana, you might feel a little bit of a different sensation in your spine, because we worked on the glutes and the lower part of the body. We're going to do the opposite movement, Setu Bandhasana or the bridge pose. Now you're going to take your block and place it under your hips. So for that, I would like you to bring your heels closer to your fingertips when you touch them, and you're going to lift your hips up and support your lower back on the block. So the position of the block should be that comfortable that you shouldn't feel like you're doing the posture. It feels like the block is actually supporting your whole weight. So don't place it on the lower back, slightly below your lower back, next to your sacrum and your tailbone. So try and keep your legs here, hands either on your hips or on the floor. The most important position here is your neck. Don't turn your neck. Keep your chin tucked in. If you feel there is a pressure building up in your neck, reduce the height of the block. You close your eyes and make sure your toes are not V-shaped, your knees are not falling out, your toes are pointing forward, your knees are directly above your ankles. You're going to keep your eyes closed and allow the spine to rest on the block, and see how all of this is slightly going towards your heart, like it's a venous return of the blood. It's a very similar to inverting your body, either in shoulder stand or head stand. So you can feel very gentle relaxation of how your hip is relaxed. Your lower back pain will disappear after this practice. It's a very soothing and a comfortable practice for everybody. We're going to stay another 5 breaths, focusing only on the breathing, slow and steady. And you feel really calm. Your mind already stops all this chatter and fully aware of your breath, and gives a lot of clarity on who we actually are, why we have all these confusions, why we have all this worry. It gives time to take time to retrospect and see the reality of what you're going through. With that awareness, you can still pause the video and stay for a bit longer. And you're gonna relax otherwise you relax your block, release the block, relax your hips. Take time, don't be in a hurry to sit up. Feel the spine on the floor, feel how your shoulders feel, the neck and your heels. Now slowly gonna turn towards your right and slowly sit up.
So this practice really helps you to release all the stress that you're carrying. It's a very slow and steady practice which will help you to go deeper into your own self. And all the chatter, the conflicts stops and you get a more peaceful state, get to a more peaceful state. And this is why Yin Yoga is very special and everybody can practice this, but make sure you take precautions. Like if you feel that posture is uncomfortable, you should stop at 45 seconds or even less, or start with a basic modification of the posture. So don't go into a deeper variation, start with bolsters, blocks, and you have straps to help you. I hope you enjoyed this practice. My name is Joshna Ramakrishnan and I'll see you in the next episode. Thank you very much.